Yo, what's going on guys, it's Abs here and welcome back to another Gears 5 feedback and discussions video. So in this video I'm going to be talking about changes that are needed heading into Gears 5 Operation 5 and beyond. So yeah, we're going to be diving deep into so many changes that are needed in Gears 5 currently. And to be honest, I'm not happy, and I know a lot of you guys aren't happy either. So I'm going to try my best to be constructive, respectful, and try and offer solutions to the problems that are currently in Gears 5. And this is not to take away anything that the Coalition have done in Operation 4, because Operation 4 was massive steps forward, I do have to say. But it was mainly quality of life changes, wasn't it? You know, for instance, the store, the ranking system, lots of quality of life changes. And for me personally, I know this sounds harsh, but July the 14th, Operation 4's release date, I believe, that was Gears 5 launch date for me. That felt like Gears 5 launch date, because the first 8 or 9 months, it was an absolute train wreck, let's be honest. And we can thank Rod Ferguson for his amazing leadership there. But anyway, in March, of course, the Coalition had a summit where they sat down and assessed what the fuck is going wrong here, right? And that's when they realised, okay, we need more maps, we need more characters, we need to unbind the classes from the characters in PvE, we need to do what the fans are asking for basically. And Operation 4 was the start of that, of course, a couple of months later. And in November, when Operation 5 drops, that will be around about 8 months after that summit. So we have to see the fruits of what they've been discussing, right? And what they've been working on. And I hope this is a new beginning. Gears 5 Operation 5, it has to be big, it has to be. Because right now Gears 5 is not cutting it for me, and I'm just enjoying other games at the moment. But I love Gears of War so much, you know, I know you do, that's why you're watching. You know, that's why I create Gears of War videos. But yeah, this will be a longer video anyway, just because we've got a lot to break down. And yeah, as always, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for everything Gears of War related. And I'm no stranger to feedback videos anyway. During the course of Gears 5, I've made so many feedback videos, but I was a bit smaller in the community at the time, so maybe a lot of people didn't see them, perhaps. So anyway, in terms of the changes needed heading into Operation 5 and beyond, I asked you guys on Twitter as to what is your feedback during the rest of Operation 4, going into Operation 5 and beyond. And you guys had so much to say, so I thank you so much for the feedback. And it's good that we're working together so we can deliver the best sort of constructive criticism that we can. And I'm glad that I can try and be a voice for the community. Even though I'm not the biggest YouTuber or biggest voice in the community, I still want to be a voice. So thank you for submitting the feedback. So if you want to pause the video and see the feedback that you guys listed, that's fine. But I'm going to be breaking down each and every one of those in about 20 points. And that's just to illustrate that, look, we want the same thing, right? This isn't a video about what I want, it's about what we want, right? So let's do this. So my point number 1 is that more maps are needed. This is a no-brainer really. So when Gears 5 launched, how many maps did it launch with? About 8 or something? So we were screwed from the get-go, weren't we? And not only that, most of those maps were terrible, I have to say, they were terrible, and they still are actually. More maps are definitely needed, because when more maps drop in Operation 5, I don't want to play Vaskar again, I don't want to play Bunker again, I don't want to play Training Grounds again. Exhibit is not too bad, Asylum is a good map to be fair. I don't like the majority of the Gears 5 maps, and Gears 4 maps, obviously Foundation, Reclaimed, they're good, but we played them for about 3 years, didn't we, in Gears of War 4, and you know, we just want to try some new things. So more maps are needed, and what I want is a mix of returning and new maps. So returning maps being ones that are not redone before, so I don't want maps that have been in at least 2 or 3 Gears of War games. So I don't want to see Gridlock again, to be honest with you. It was good back in the day, but now it's just overdone. I want to see a map. Personally, I think we need minimum 6 maps in Operation 5. That's because of the lack of maps that have been given throughout Operation 2, 3, 4. But there has to be about 6 maps, come on, there has to be a lot of maps here. And I would prefer 3 nostalgic maps, so 3 old maps and 3 new maps. Now when I'm talking about old maps, I'd prefer one from Gears of War 1, one from Gears of War 2 and one from Gears of War 3. So I'd prefer, you know, maybe a map like Mansion that's not overdone too much, a Mausoleum, something like that. And then Gears of War 2, there are so many great Gears of War 2 maps, such as River, Jacinto, Ruins, Pavilion. You can choose from any one of them. Gears of War 3, Gears of War 3 maps have been redone a good amount. For example, in Gears of War 4 there was Mercy, Checkout, Old Town, quite a few Gears of War 3 maps that were redone. But I wouldn't mind seeing something like Depths again from the DLC. Trenches weren't too bad, Azora's pretty good, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing those. And then 3 new maps, so not Lancer based maps, not crap maps, but 3 maps that have that Gears of War vibe to it, like a Reactor, because Reactor was really good. I do have to say, Reactor is a great map, so we need more maps like that, but maps that are different to one another, right? For example, River. When you play River, obviously you go into the house and you try your best to run to the long shot as quickly as you can, because if you don't, then someone's going to be picking up the long shot from the other side and they're going to pop your head off, simple as that. And that plays different to Ruins when you're fighting for the Scorcher, for instance. So each map, it needs to differentiate from the other in terms of the new maps as well. So that's my feedback in terms of the maps. Right, so my second point is that operations need to be 12 weeks long again. Personally, I'd want operations to be scrapped as a whole, but I don't think they'll be scrapped, to be honest with you. We're already almost 5 operations in, so I don't think it's going to get scrapped at this point. And for the longevity of the game, operations can be done as long as they're done properly, which I'm going to explain now. So operations can be 12 weeks long again, but there has to be constant support through weekly fresh versus events and horde events. So let me firstly take on the weekly versus events. So we don't want to play Nash's Only Koth or Luck of the Draw or Arms Race, whatever, every single week, or Golden Gun. Try something new, come on, get the creative juices flowing. I've offered so many special event ideas. I even did a feedback video just on that. You know, I've covered so many things. You know, Boom Snipes, why not bring that back one week? What about Drop Shot M-Bars? What about Nash's Only Guardian? What about a Juggernaut game mode where the Guardian's got so much more health? That was mentioned on a TACCOM stream, I believe, which was a great idea. And an idea that I came up with is, you know, similar to Infection or Infected from Call of Duty. Imagine if one player was a former, so a lambent human, and everyone else was just, you know, like a normal cog, and that former would be on his own to start the match, and he would have to try and kill people by melee attacks, or maybe he's got a knife or something like that, and if he kills someone, then you become a former as well, and you go up against all the other players. Imagine that, that'd be pretty cool. And you can call the game mode Lambency or something, and when you kill someone, they become a former as well. And basically, if you survive, you win. So, you know, that would be such a great mode. They've got so many ideas that you can give us, you know. And it's just fun, isn't it? Versus events. It doesn't have to be anything amazing. It's only there for a week. And then horde events. I've seen a lot of PvE people talk to me and tell me that they want horde events. And they haven't got anything, to be honest with you. I don't play PvE much, but I want to be a voice for them as well. So, you know, try new things for horde. I don't know. Maybe loads of pouncers, or a Locust Horde, Third Guard event. To be honest, there needs to be Locust in Horde. I know many people have said this already, but you need to try new things with Horde as well. And keep players constantly engaged throughout the operation, and that will be great. And then a solid mid-operation drop, so 6 weeks into the operation itself, there'll be a solid drop. I'm not talking about 3 characters and a default looking weapon skin set, aka the 1-year anniversary weapons. No, I don't want that. I want a solid mid-operation drop, so maybe a couple of maps, good selection of characters, and maybe a couple new medal groups that you can grind for, which will be another point anyway. So yeah, a solid mid-operation drop, even a mini Tour of Duty, you know, Tour of Duty 5.5 or 4.5, whatever the operation is. That would be great. You know, operations can be done right, but at the moment, no. It's not doing great at all. They're withholding content. A Shiny Ray actually made a great video about operations and how they kill in Gears 5. I would recommend watching that as well. I'll leave that linked in the description. But yeah, let's move on to point number 3. So point number 3, a new game mode is definitely needed. Now, I am a big fan of Wingman. I have been since Gears of War 2. I love Wingman so much. But I think for the health of the game and to provide a new experience and to bring new potential players in, I think they should go for Overrun 2.0, simply because obviously it's a different experience, isn't it? And not only that, it will bring PvP and PvE players together under one bubble, and also there's so much potential. But not only that, half of the things that can be done in Overrun 2.0, it's already in the game, isn't it? For example, through Jack's hijack ability, or through the campaign. a lot of it is already there. So I would love to see Overrun 2.0, that would be amazing. But yeah, fresh game mode, that would be really nice to see. And Overrun is one of the things that Judgment did well, and it can be done well in Gears of War 5 as well, so a new game mode is definitely needed. Now point number 4 is about netcode. Netcode is sort of a blanket term, but it's commonly used when discussing synchronization issues between clients and servers. So this mainly refers to hit registration issues and things like that. Now, GGZ actually made a great video, not once but twice I believe, discussing the netcode, and I'm not sure what's going on at the Coalition in terms of looking into this. Z also talks about screen difference, power weapon magnetism, things like that. So in terms of tuning, you know, they have done a great job on tuning. You know, Jonathan Taylor, PvP director now, and Jim Bob at the Coalition as well, they're doing a great job, you know, with the beta playlist, making the game harder in terms of reducing the magnetism, taking the adhesion out of the game as a whole, extending those Nasher gunfights and things like that. But there's more work to be done. But anyway, if the netcode is broken, then you're not really going to get anywhere, are you? So this needs to be addressed, and I would love to talk about mechanics, but I talk about mechanics a lot of the time. I want things like weapon swap speeds looked at, you know, the magnetism on power weapons, but we'll dive deeper into that another day. But yeah, like I said, netcode, that needs sorting out ASAP. Now my 5th point of changes needed is that we need more incentives to keep playing the actual game itself. So let players earn cool character skins for completing medal groups. Now I've said this many times in tweets on Twitter. Imagine if you had 100 revives in any game mode, no time limit, and that gave you the cog medic, you know, something for you to do mid operation or at any time really. Once the character tie is unlocked, there may be, I don't know, 300 Nasher kills in any game mode, and that gives you tortured tie. What if you had 200 headshots in any game mode, and that would give you the Locust Sniper, right? Fitting, isn't it? So just get creative, give more incentives for players to play, stop relying on iron just for characters to be unlocked, and then Gears coins a week or two later, depending on how much money it gains you. Monthly challenges, and challenges with no set time as well. And Neon Velocity actually mentioned a point about even earning real life rewards from the game. So they could have a challenge, and if you beat that challenge, you can win real life rewards like a Gears pop or a comic or something like that. That would be so cool. So come on, more incentives to keep playing, that would be amazing. And rewards that are worth the grind as well, you know, even if it's a weapon skin set, make that weapon skin set worth the grind, make it a really nice skin set, not like a 1 year crap anniversary set. The creative team at the Coalition, they need to get more creative, as simple as that really. So my 6th point is re-up rewards. So obviously re-up rewards are a big change that is needed going into Op 5 and beyond. And I know Andy at the Coalition, who is the senior game designer, he's actually working on this, and I made a feedback video talking about 5 ways to improve the re-up reward system. And he actually follows me on Twitter, and I did at him on the tweet of the video, and he actually had a look at the feedback. So maybe this will get addressed, and maybe he might pluck some of the ideas that I came up with, which would be nice. So if you want to check that video out, that would be great. But just to give a little quick summary, I said that at each re-up, right, you should receive a little package of things that you get. So whether it's a re-up banner, a nice weapon skin set, a decent mark, you know, that type of stuff, and weapon skin sets that are actually good as well, by the way. And then every 5 or so re-ups, you get a nice chase character. So for instance, a Gilded Scourge, similar to Gilded Ram, maybe Golden Hunter. People had to grind for him in Gears of War 3, so why not grind for him again maybe? You could have OG Onyx Guard in there, you could have Ruby Scion in there, I don't know, some decent chase characters that you know the fans will like and want to grind for. That'll be great. So over 50 re-ups, that'll be at least 10 characters, but every re-up there'll be a nice weapon skin set, you know, maybe some Gears coins as well actually, you know, a mark, a banner, that type of stuff. That'll be pretty sweet, because at the moment, of course, who wants to grind all the way up to, I don't know, re-up 20 and you receive, what do you receive actually, you know, a desert camo weapon skin? Who wants that? Come on. So TC, you know the drill when it comes to re-up rewards. Let's get that sorted. And then my point number 7 is that the featured store section needs to go, and all past items just need to be added to the permanent section. You're withholding all that content that you've added throughout the year, and it's just sat there doing nothing, right? Why not add that as a permanent selection? as part of all the other permanent stuff. You know, why should we have to vote for a blood spray and, you know, a weapon skin set when you could just add all those in the game already? You know, why are you withholding all of this content? I don't understand. It's the cycle of drip feeding, you know. I'm not a fan of the drip feeding, it's annoying, and yeah, the featured section in the store has to go. For instance, Voldram, he was in the featured store for 1 week, I think it was in August, yeah, and then he just disappeared. But why has he just disappeared for? People might actually want him. You know, let people spend their Gears coins, and if they don't have enough Gears coins, that's a little incentive for them to keep playing a little bit more, and then they'll unlock Voldram. You know, it's simple. Moving on to point number 8. So useless character skins like 8-Bit Jin, Beardless Marcus, they need to go. They need to get the hell out of here, right? Don't make players wait a whole week just for a terrible skin, right? You should have a mix of nostalgic skins such as V-Day Marcus or Superstar Cole, and then new good skins as well. For instance, Major Paddock that you did, that was great, or Firestarter Benjamin, that was amazing, right? You don't need to go ahead and make 8-Bit Jin. What is that crap? Moving on to one of the feedback videos that I made once again, 2 of them actually. I made 40 COG character possibilities. 40, right? Whether it's Hoffman, Bernie, Ty, Anya, so many COG characters, and imagine all different skin variants for them. For instance, E-Day Hoffman, and then you've got V-Day Hoffman, and then, I don't know, dress uniform Hoffman, and that's just Hoffman himself. Then you've got all those other skins like Anya, Tomorrow Anya, Civilian Anya. There's so many skins, but you're wasting your time making 8-Bit Jin and Beardless Marcus. Come on, man. Then I made a 40 Locust character skin possibilities. So we've got the Locust Sniper, the Golden Hunter, the Golden Miner, we've got the Hunter Elite, the Savage Theron, the Armored Cantus, Scourge, Ukon, Locust Disciple, so many different Locust characters. And then the best you can have is sort of a Winter Sniper skin. Like, come on, you can do better. We know you can do better. So please work on these character skins and don't waste your time putting months of effort into 8-Bit Jin when you know no one's going to give a shit about it. And then moving on to point number 9. So blood sprays, they need to go. Enough is enough, right? I've had enough of the blood sprays, to be honest with you. They should have never been in the game in the first place. Like, when I die, I don't want to see a toilet. This ain't Toilet Simulator, this is Gears of War. You know, I don't want to see crap on my screen when I die. I want to see the classic Crimson Omen. That's what I want to see, right? The blood sprays, they just don't work in Gears. That's my opinion. And if they're removed, then that'll be great. And that leads me on to point number 10, which is the classic Omen health. That needs to return, right? Because when you remove the classic Omen health, that takes away some of the identity of the Gears of War multiplayer and gameplay. It really does. The inverse Omen, what is that? Who made that decision? I don't understand who made that decision. Right, how can the classic Omen health that was in Gears of War since the beginning? So why would you take that out? No one complained about it. No one did. Like when I'm watching esports or gameplay, whatever it is, right? When I see the screen go all red and there's a massive inverse Omen there, who wants to see that? I don't want to see that. The viewers don't want to see that. Even when I'm watching some montage clips, you know, montages in the community making amazing montages. Why is their work ruined because of a massive red inverse Omen in the way, affecting viewers? You know, it's not nice. The Crimson Omen, that's the identity of Gears, isn't it? Right? And how can you remove that classic Omen health, the Crimson Omen when you die? How can you remove that from Gears of War? That makes no sense to me. A lot of people have given up on the classic Omen health because the Coalition said it's not in the plans to return in Gears 5 because of development time or whatever it was. But I would take the classic Omen health over a lot of things, and that's saying a lot. It's like the Gears 5 logo, okay? You've got the Crimson Omen there, right? This is what the Gears 5 logo looks like without the classic Omen health and the inverse Omen. That's what it looks like. So yeah, the classic Omen health, it needs to return, and it definitely should be in Gears 6, that's without a doubt. But I need it in Gears 5, we need it in Gears 5 as well. Because the classic Omen health, it's just not a bit of health UI. It's an identity really, isn't it, for Gears of War? Like when people are playing Gears of War multiplayer or Gears of War gameplay, when they see that Crimson Omen, you know, when they're getting damaged or when they die, that just shows it's just Gears of War. It's not COD, it's not whatever, this is Gears of War. And taking things like the inverse Omen, putting that into the game, it takes away from the identity. That's how I feel. And then we move on to point number 11, which is untying the classes to characters in PvE. So they said this is coming in Operation 5, and the PvE players have waited for so long for this. They just want to play as any character they want. You know, there are so many players who love Dominic Santiago. They're not even able to play as him in Horde. How annoying must that be? To be honest, I think the Gears of War 4 class system was amazing. That was one of the things that Gears of War 4 Horde did right, and all they really needed was to basically kind of expand on that, but they went a whole different route. Now obviously it's a bit late to talk about the past now, but we can kind of get towards that system again. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, give the PvE players what they want, let them play as any character they want, any class they want, and yeah, that's point number 11 of changes that need to be made. Point number 12 is that the ranking system has to reward the individual player more. Solos just get shafted, okay? Ranked multiplayer, it's all about map control and how many players you have in your party. It's as simple as that. And quitters are not even addressed already as well, which they should be, to be honest. There should be a surrender system as well. You know, there's more to be done with the ranking system. There's a lot more to be done. Even MVP, you know, why is the MVP not the most valuable player in the lobby? How it was in Gears of War 3 and 4 and Judgment. It shouldn't be handed to the winning team player who's on top of that team when the other team might have a guy who's absolutely carrying, but his teammates are not great. So the MVP, that needs to be sorted as well. The rank system has to reward the player more. Because at the moment, you know, it's just about how many players you've got, because if you've got a lot of players and if they're good players, that's when you can climb a lot easier. And I don't know, it's not really healthy for the game, I feel. Point number 13 is that Gears 5 needs to bring intensity, crunch and gore back to Gears 5. Well, to the franchise really, not to Gears 5 because it was never really in there, to be honest. Now this seems like a long shot, but I just want this added. You know, for instance, when I was playing Gears of War 2 the other day, and if I meleeed someone, right, you could feel the weight of that melee. Even when I was chainsawing someone or when I was shooting someone, the gore, it just looked so realistic. It didn't look cartoonish. When I got a headshot, you could feel that crunch, and it's what made Gears so satisfying. You know, when you get a headshot and you hear that crunch, that's what makes Gears multiplayer so satisfying, doesn't it? Not just multiplayer, Gears as a whole. Making it so intense. For instance, you know, when in the older Gears of War games, when your character used to do a roll and they used to grunt like when they used to roll, and when they used to hit onto the cover, they used to grunt, didn't they? And when they used to take cover on the sandbags or whatever it was, you'd see a little bit of dust fall off those sandbags or the wall or whatever it was. Little bits like that is just missing in Gears 5. Even when you are shooting a pillar or a wall, and in Gears of War 2, little bits or little fragments of that wall would tear off because obviously you're shooting it. If someone's trying to stick you with a torque bow and they miss and it hits the pillar, right, little bits of that pillar should fall off. Obviously not the whole pillar, obviously, but little bits of that pillar should just fall off and, you know, bring some of that intensity back. That's what made Gears of War different, you know, the gore, the crunch, that's what's missing. And that's a big thing, you know, it is a really big thing. It's what makes the game actually feel different to other games. Things like the knife melee, I was never a fan of the knife melee anyway. I think a lot of PvE players like the knife melee because it's quite useful. But in PvP, it's not great at all. Like, you get slashed at with a knife and you don't feel anything. You know, your character just hops back a little bit, kind of. Now, the knife melee ain't it for me. I prefer the old melee, I prefer more intense gameplay, you know. They need to bring that back, and they need to start working towards that, to be honest with you, for the rest of Gears 5, and definitely in Gears 6. It has to be in Gears 6 from the start. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. So my point number 14 is let people do what they want in custom games, okay? So the community is so creative, so let them do what they want in custom games, whether it's a tournament, whether they're just messing about or just warming up, whatever it might be. So let them adjust health, let them change weapon loadouts, and let them see what they can create. You never know, they can create the next versus event if you just give them the chance and the tools, right? For instance, in Call of Duty, me and my friends used to do quick scope matches, you know, with the sniper. Once we did a Predator game mode where there was one insane bot on the field and everyone had to run away, and the insane bot was just so good, so it was difficult to run away, similar to the Predator movie. So if you can do this, then the fans can just play around with what they want in custom games. You know, they can get ALSOC lobbies going, they can get Nash's Only Koth lobbies going, they can just do what they want. You know, they can try new stuff. Like, just referring to the quickscope matches I had on Call of Duty with my friends in custom games. Like, we'd make sure that we had a sniper class setup done already, and we weren't allowed to have any utility grenades or flashbangs or anything like that. So giving the ability for players in Gears 5 to just spawn in with a long shot, that'd be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? And just other things like that. So let them be creative, let them do what they want. That'd be pretty nice. Moving on to point number 15, and that is that more weapons need to return. For instance, the Scorcher, the Hammer of Dawn, the Ink Grenades, so many weapons, the Breach Shot. There are so many weapons that need to return, because Gears of War is such an amazing franchise, obviously, and the weapons are so unique, you know. The Boom Shield is unique. Hammer of Dawn, it is so unique. The Hammer of Dawn means so much in the Gears of War franchise, doesn't it? In the story and everything. So the Hammer of Dawn needs to return, that's for sure. The Scorcher should return. It would spicing up the gameplay, but it would also give that old school Gears feeling as well, having those older weapons. In a lot of maps you've got the shot grenades there. Why not replace them one round with the ink grenades? You know, ink grenades, they were great. Ink grenades were great. Or on some maps you're fighting for the Markser. Why not have a breach shot there? Obviously there'll have to be a lot of balancing and things like that needs to be addressed, but I would love to see a lot more weapons return. That would be amazing, and I do miss a lot of the weapons in previous Gears of War games, that's for sure. Point number 16 is that they need to readjust the leveling up curve for all re-up levels, so making it a little bit easier but more achievable to hit max re-up, because people should be able to show off that, look, I'm the max re-up in the game, I grinded it out, I've got this character to prove it. You know, maybe Gilded Scourge, which you should get for re-up 50 or something like that. That would be great. Looking back as well, you know, Gears of War 2 had the level 100 symbol. Even in a game like Black Ops 2 back in the day, you had the Master Prestige symbol, and that was a badass symbol. And you know, if you were coming up against someone with the Master Prestige, that they grinded it out, and if you came up against someone with the Master Prestige symbol, you think, alright, this guy's grinded it out so much, you know, this guy's bound to be pretty decent, we'll see. It's kind of a status symbol in the game. People want stuff like that. People want to show off things that many other players don't have, you know, whether it's a character skin, whether it's a weapon skin set, whether it's even a level. People want things that other people don't have, and Gears 5 should be able to do this, not just with the re-up, but character skins, weapon skin sets, and much more. Number 17 is that I want a war journal back in Gears of War. The war journal, it served its purpose basically, didn't it? It was a journal of all your kills, your damage, different game modes. You used to have collectibles in there as well. You used to have so much, and it was just a nice way of just looking back and just seeing what you've done, what you can do, what you can improve on, and you could just track stats, and it was just so good. Whereas the stat system in Gears 5 is pretty terrible, to be honest with you. There's not much stats to look at, there's not much stats to compare, there's not much there, to be honest with you. And that needs to be improved massively. The war journal was great, and I do hope for it to return, and I do miss it, to be honest with you. So I do want the war journal to return in Operation 5 and moving forward. That would be amazing. So my point number 18 is that they need to fill the tour of duty with more content, and they need to make it more worth the grind. Now, I like how there's a chase character at the end, you know, whether it's the UIR Cosmonaut or the Blood Red Speaker, that's good. But there has to be a lot more characters in there as well. They should just throw in some nostalgia in there as well, to be honest with you. And some new skins as well that are pretty nice. Not a beardless Marcus, let's not go through that again. You know, pretty nice skins, that's what we want. Gears coins are good to grind for, but when you unlock some Gears coins, it doesn't really mean much, does it? It's nice that they've put that in. They need to find a right balance between the two. So a good amount of Gears coins and a good amount of solid content in there as well. So even just throwing in skins that they've never given us before, for instance Pendulum Wars Marcus or Old Man Dom, you know, a what if skin. And then even having some old school skins in there as well, just like the Flame Grenadier, something as simple as that. Gears of War 2 Beast Rider, maybe a Lambent Drone, you know, just fill the tour of duty with more content, make it worth it. and perhaps even make it longer, because people, they just complete the tour of duty in like 2 weeks or even a week within the operation dropping. Now that's up to the person and the player obviously, but if people are completing it within a week or within a few days, then you know something's up, and obviously they are using the boost, of course. I'd say make it a bit more worthwhile. That's my feedback. Make it worth the grind. They have improved on the tour of duties over the operations, I'm not gonna lie. There is more work to be done, I do have to say. And like I said before, having a mid-operation mini tour of duty, that would be pretty nice as well. Just a mini tour of duty, maybe like 20 ranks or something, full of a nice selection of content. That would be pretty good, and it would allow people to just keep motivated throughout the operation, keep motivated to play, give them more incentives, etc. So that would be good. Now moving on to point number 19. So these last 2 points, they will be more to do with the communication and our relationship between us and the coalition themselves. So point number 19 is to having community members on streams from time to time. So in the developer streams, sometimes, you know, they have Jonathan Taylor on there or Michael Shannon. So Jonathan Taylor being the PvP director and Michael Shannon being the PvE director, I believe. And they've had Andy on there, senior game designer, I believe, and a few other people, which is great. But sometimes Dana is on his own or with another community manager. So why not have those moments for someone in the community, for example myself, because I would love that opportunity and I will be respectful and just say things how it is, but obviously not divert away from what needs doing in Gears 5, what needs working on, but also just be there to voice my opinion, voice your opinion, and ultimately just talk Gears as well, because I love talking Gears of War. You know, I could talk about Gears of War all day long really. I love this franchise too much, whether it's the campaign, the story, the lore, whether it's the multiplayer, you know, I can talk about it all day long. And even if it's not me on the streams, you know, having someone else like Raw or GGZ or The Razor'd Edge, someone like that on the streams, I think that would be good, to be honest with you. And point number 20 is once again better communication, but this time in the form of articles on a weekly basis. So on Mondays we have the This Week in Gears post, which I do a news update video on, and on Thursday we have a What's Up article. So on Mondays the article drops pretty late for us in the UK and Europe. It tends to be about 10 PM or sometimes even 12 AM or even 1 AM. At times I've stayed up till about 5 AM in the morning doing patch notes videos when a new operation drops and things like that. So why should I have to go through all that trouble? And there's no set timing for articles to drop. Why not ensure that the articles drop by 9 PM in the UK, whatever that is in their time zone, you know, maybe towards the start of their working day, because it looks like they post the articles at the end of their working day. I don't know why that is, maybe to avoid any questions after, I'm not sure. But that is a bit annoying, to be honest, because I never know when I'm actually going to do a video. Sometimes I have to wait like 4 hours after make sure that I'm free so I can make a video for you guys on the news. Sometimes I might be waiting 3 or 4 hours just to find out that there's no WhatsApp article for today. And it's annoying, it wastes my time as well. And it's not great communication really, is it? So that's one thing there. And the other thing is that towards the start of the operation, or sometimes midway through the operation, they say they're working on things, but we never hear about it again. For instance, on one of the articles that Beast Rider, a community member and subscriber of the channel, so thank you Beast Rider for sending me these 2 screenshots. Now, it said they were working on rewarding top players on each team. Has that happened? No, not really. Ensure solo players feel properly rewarded. That's not really happened. Address the impact of quitters, not happened either. Grant bonus GP for winning rounds. So all these things, right, they've not updated us on how they're getting on with it. So we don't know when it's going to come into fruition. We don't know what's happening. Is it going to take place or not? We don't even know. You know, we're kept in the dark. And even issues with the Nasher inconsistencies, which they said they're going to continue to address. But where are they up to in terms of that? You know, this is issues with the communication. You know, are they finding it okay? Have they encountered another bug that they need to sort out? Keep us notified. And not just PvP, because PvE fans have waited for a Horde update. I think it was for about a month now, and it's not even come through yet. I'm not sure on the exact details as to what that update entailed, but I've got a feeling it's something to do with Paddock's ability. I'm not too sure. I don't really play PvE much, but PvE players just waiting all the time, you know, they're getting shafted. So that needs to be sorted as well. So the final point that I thought I'd add, which is point 21, before I wrap things up, is the Coalition Army program. So the Coalition Army program is basically a program where the Coalition give you resources and opportunities to support your growth as a creator, and that's what the program is supposed to do, right? But the program doesn't do that. It's as simple as that. It is a bit of a joke, and there's not much integrity to the program itself, and it should mean a lot more, and the Coalition should do their most to ensure that the content creators are growing in the community, that they help in the game as well. Basically, being a YouTuber or a streamer for a game, it's free promotion, it's free marketing, isn't it? For instance, I'll use myself as an example. I know I've only got 6,400 subscribers. We have grown a lot over the year. So when Operation 4 dropped, I did an Operation 4 in-depth look, and that video where I just took a deep dive into all the changes in Operation 4, so the ranking system, the store, the maps, all of that good stuff, and that video got about 12,000 views, 12,000 eyes on that video, which meant that people who may have left Gears 5 in September or October, they might have seen the video and thought, okay, hang on, Gears 5 is actually making some decent changes. And this guy, KingAbz, is showing me this. Right, I'm going to hop back on Gears 5. And that's an extra player for you. Imagine thousands of people might have done that, you never know. And I feel like I'm providing quality content, and I know many others are, such as Mr. K-Manian. He's got 12,000 subscribers. And not once has he really been recognised by the Coalition, which is sad to see. And he's very consistent, and so am I. We've been consistent for so long. I can't say the same for all the other content creators. There are some that are always consistent, that's without a doubt, but you know, you want to provide quality assets to the content creators, you want to help promote them, you want to give them a creator code. This is very important. Warzone does this, Fortnite does this, and creator code would help that content creator out and make them feel valued by the company and the game itself. For instance, I've been creating Gears of War content for a while now, and I don't really feel valued by the developers or the game itself, and that makes me wonder, you know, should I move on? Should I move on to Call of Duty, a game that I'm really enjoying right now? You know, it makes me question things. It makes me question why I started all of this in the first place. And not just to create a code, you know, maybe an exclusive banner in game. You know, you do a lot for the esports, which is great, but maybe a bit more for the content creators as well. And I know the Coalition are working on this, but I don't know, maybe it's low down on the priority list. It should be done by now, to be honest, as we have waited for changes for a long time. Now when I make news update videos, I notify at least 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people of the news every single week. That's 3,000 of your players that I'm notifying, and in turn they're not asking you extra questions because I'm covering it all for them. I answer the questions that they have, so you know, it would be nice to actually be appreciated for once. But I don't need the Coalition to grow, to be honest with you. I've gotten this far already by myself, and I will continue to grow. But of course in life you always want to take it that one level up. So yeah, those are the changes that I feel that are needed in the Coalition Army program itself, and that would help Gears 5 as well, in terms of promotion, in terms of the community. That would really help out. Now if you did make it this far in the video, I thank you so much for watching, and thank you if you did provide feedback, and yeah, I do appreciate that so much. And obviously I'm really frustrated. You know, patience is running thin. You know, we've waited a year. We're still here after 1 year of Gears 5, after the ups and downs, mainly downs obviously, but it's been a tough journey. I've made so many feedback videos. Other content creators have made so many feedback videos. We've struggled, but we need to work with the developers, and I do hope the Coalition do see this video. So be sure to share this video. Share it on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook. That'll be really appreciated. And be sure to drop a like on the video as well, that would be appreciated. And subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hope you guys have a nice day, and I will catch you on the next one.